Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to week 2 of the Final Fantasy Randomizer Spring Tournament. We have a match between Zyrak and Saltyphry tonight. Should be a pretty good match. Saltyphry has been around for quite a while. Zyrak is, I believe, he's done quite a few different randomizers. And my name is Darren Drees, and I'm joined in the booth tonight by Elastoid, and we're excited to bring in this match.
Yeah, how you doing, Darren?
I'm doing really well. Really enjoying the spring tournament so far. Seen a lot of great matches. How are you doing tonight, Elastoid?
I'm doing pretty good. This has been an exciting tournament so far. Saltyphry is an old teammate of mine in the Tour de Canaria, and Zyrak, he's been racing for a good long while, but he's brand new to the Final Fantasy randomizer community. So it's going to be real interesting to see how much of his general racing experience transfers over to Rando Final Fantasy specifically.
Yeah, and it's been really interesting to see the difference between some of the newer runners to Final Fantasy and some of the older runners who are coming back, and see the differences in playstyle, and just see a lot of people fighting it out throughout the last week and a half, and I'm sure we'll see even more going forward for the next 4 weeks of Swiss as well.
Yeah, so it looks like the runners are ready to get underway. This is obviously Fry is going to be favored in this match, but it's Final Fantasy Randomizer, so anything can happen. So we're loading up right now, and wishing both runners the best of luck.
Also, before we get started, we have Gouda doing our restream tonight, and Burt Reynolds is tracking for us, so thank you to both of them for helping to get this on the air and keep us straight as we're going throughout the race tonight.
And they're off. You can see immediately Fry with the thief in front. They actually have the same party, but Fry chose the thief in front, whereas Zyrak looks like he's having the fighter be his front line.
Yeah, and this was an open party. They both decided that they wanted to pick their own and ended up picking the same party. Looks like
Fry is changing his mind. He saw something in the white magic that he wanted, I guess, because he is re-rolling for the sake of grabbing a white mage. This is always an interesting strategy. So he's gonna forego the red mage because he wants, and that's the one spell that you always want to grab if you see it early, is the white mage only exit. So that's a great strategy, I think, by Saltyphry over there. Shows that he knows which spells are going to be the most important.
Yeah, and that heal too can really do a lot of work for you too, especially places like Volcano where you're going to need full party heals. So
absolutely, and even Cure 3 can be useful for a good chunk of the game if you need an in battle heal. So some great magic for the white mage.
Nothing much there for the black magic, so it might be interesting to see if anyone follows the strategy Provoca first, maybe get a level or two and see what level 2 magic is.
Absolutely. So Saltyphry, he did re-roll the party, but it didn't stop him at all. He's already jumping straight out into Temple of Fiends. It's worth losing 20 or 30 seconds to pick up an exit spell, especially early game with the dungeons that don't have orb exits. You're always going to wish you could, but he waits against the ghoul, and he's going to feel a little silly on that one. Just going to choose to reset out of it.
Yeah, that cabin pickup early is really nice because you can reset out of fights. You can, he didn't like what was in that bottom chest, so you can just skip over that and see what's up on top here.
Yeah, this is rando, so any of these enemies damage, poison, or something, and it's always a drag to wipe and have to trek all the way back. You can see he's already making use of that exit spell. Now, one of the mistakes a lot of people can make is using the exit spell after Princess Sarah warps you to Conneria Castle, because if you use the exit spell there, you will wind up outside of Temple of Fiends instead of winding up outside of Connery Castle. So let's see if he makes that mistake, or if he's wise to it.
I actually did that just a few days ago in practice. Adamant at the King, that one is actually available from the very beginning, and so it would have been interesting if Thor's Hammer was there. But Adamant and Canoe, so that's a really good start. Got a turn in that you can do pretty quick, and the Canoe just opens up a big part of the world for you.
Absolutely. The Canoe makes it possible for there to be a jet seed. It also makes it possible for it to be a really, really rough seed where the canal is like somewhere buried in ice or something, and everybody's stuck in the inner sea for a little bit. So it's going to depend on what the Adamant is and what the Bicky has for us.
And Saltyphry looks like he's heading right over to the dwarf cave. He's actually going to go, we're going to see a bridge boss here in just a second as he's going to park at the river there, make use of his canoe, and take a short walk in to turn in that Adamant and see what's behind it.
Yeah, interesting strategy from Saltyphry, because he's not going to check out the Provoca yet. Yeah, there's a lot of level 2 magic there, and he doesn't have anything useful at level 1 for clearance of enemies. He's only got the ice spell, so gonna be interesting to see what's in Provoca. Meanwhile, it looks like Zyrak just starting out with a bit of a grind. He's gonna try and get some gold and trying to get some XP before he goes in there. He's gonna be prepared just in case Temple of Fiends has something nasty.
Yeah, it looks like he got a level 3 on his party members, and he got short swords instead of some daggers, and so, he's going to be a whole lot stronger going in and just fighting it out throughout this Temple of Fiends. It'll be interesting to see what pirates are and what level 2 magic is, because if it's, any sort of sweeper there, probably could have run over, gotten a level, and gotten through pirates right away.
Yeah, it's one of those things. A lot of the players who are newer to the community, they're gonna favor safety, and in this case, it makes sense that that's what he's doing. May not like pay off in terms of time, but it'll prevent him from having like a costly wipe. Meanwhile, it looks like Wall and Harm 3 were available, and we've got Fire 3 and Ice 2 available in Black Magic. So we've got our sweep and magic available.
Zyrak's pretty quick work at Garland there. He's up to level 4. He's gonna go and get his canoe and his Adamant, and we'll see where he goes from there. And Fry's at the same level, gets the herb from Bicky. Remembers to talk to him. That's always brutal if you forget to talk to Bicky after fighting the pirates there.
Yeah, that can happen, and big surprise, like a ruffian like Bicky also turns out to be an herb dealer. So, seems like he's fallen into old patterns, even though if you talk to him again, he promises not to be any more of a bother. So, usual standard opening to this game. It looks like Saltyphry loaded up on a lot of cabins early. Took advantage of the low price of those, and he's going to try to use those to advance around the overworld without taking any encounters.
Yeah, Saltyphry going right down to Outland, gonna turn in that herb, see what he gets. Sometimes I like to check Matoya first, just in case there's something cheeky in the boxes up there, or a loose canal hanging out in the boxes there, just so you don't end up going to Marsh and then remembering to go to Matoya later.
Yeah, there's no telling which one, because, like, there's a chance that Matoya's going to have something loose. Alright, there's also a chance, or she's going to have enough gold that you can buy something you really want, like, for example, a vendor item in Provoca. And there's always a chance that you're going to find a crystal somewhere else. So there's no perfect route in terms of when to visit Matoya, because there's always a chance either way that you're going to wish you didn't.
Yeah, and that herb turns into a key, and as Guda points out in the chat, early herb and early key, early canoe means there's so many chests to check now. You've got Ice Cave available, Volcano, plus all the key locked throughout the world.
That is a white mage only life 2. So Fry's decision to roll with a white mage so far paying off some dividends there. And as you pointed out with the key, it can be so frustrating to get the key early when you don't have flight yet, because those chests and all those checks, sailing around, you lose a lot of time doing that. And you always want to make sure that it was absolutely necessary that you made those checks, because if you find the floater somewhere else, then you feel a little silly.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where the runners decide to go. There could be a lot of route diversions with the multitude of options which are available to them. They can go to Crescent, check what that incentive is. I would imagine we'll see key locks first, just because they're easy to get to and you don't have a ton of fights. River can sometimes be pretty rough.
And gold bracelets available in Elfland for the low price of 9,300 gold. They are on clearance. Apparently, the elves have realized that gold isn't actually a very strong metal to make armor in. Yeah, so it looks like Fry's gonna go ahead and make those ordeals checks. I like this play. He's not only gonna be able to see the chest, he's also gonna be able to see the trap tiles. Because if you find something good, then he can put, for example, an ice cave on the table that wouldn't be there before. Catmen, not an ideal thing to find. They aren't always the worst fight, but they don't have a lot of XP for the amount of effort that it takes. And they have glare as well, so we'll see if Fry continues this fight or if he chooses to reset out. Looks like he's going for it, and he's going to be rewarded with a couple levels.
Yeah, and they were unrunnable, so he had to get through that fight, but luckily I'm sure he saved right outside.
I mean, he could have reset out. He did save right outside, didn't he?
I believe so, so yeah, he could have definitely gotten out of that.
He's got like 6 million cabins.
And unrunnable wyverns as well.
Both of those encounters unrunnable. Hashtag never lucky. And Fry's going to go ahead and check the key locked items in Dwarf Cave. Not even bothering to go back for that silver hammer. Or silver axe. Which is hard to argue against. A black shirt available early. That is going to be very key. Because that allows the white mage to get in on the action, doing some clearance. And also a flame sword, which, while it's not a sun sword, it's a very strong early game weapon. So
yeah, that flame sword will go a long way.
That equipment, he saves immediately to make sure he keeps it.
That is a good question, Classic Gamer. I didn't see what killed 2 of his light warriors. Might have been something in the sea that's rolling some nasty abilities. Oh, Caribs rolled stone, or glance for stone, and put warriors, and that can make for a long river.
Yeah. Caribs are resistant to fire. This is one of those spots where it would have been nice. This is why when you see Fire 3 and Ice 2 in the same level, it's often worth it to grab Ice 2 as well. Because an enemy that resists fire will often not resist ice at the same time, and may be more useful. It looks like ogres have fire too, and Zyrak taking a wipe there against them. So a lot of early trouble in this scene.
Yeah, and those ogres will show up in Earth Cave as well, so that could make for a long slog through Earth Cave.
Yeah, mostly in Earth Cave it's Grogers, so he's fortunately not going to have to deal too much with that. You know, there are ogre encounters there, but they're not as common. So if he saw Grogers with Fire 2, he would potentially run into 4 of them at the same time. That's never fun.
Looks like Saltyphry wants to run 3-man, let that thief stay stoned for a while, and you can always bring him back whenever you want, but you get some extra experience funneled to those other 3 warriors.
Yeah, that's your typical thief, getting stoned and contributing not at all to the party. So, Zyrak's gonna get his Mystic Key. He's gonna make these checks as well. He's a little behind, but Ragnarok is a cheerleader for stoned thieves, apparently.
Thieves are your friend. They can do a lot of work, especially late game.
Yeah, the most important work that they can do, Saltyphry's thief is doing right now. So always glad to see them properly allocated. Although, to be fair, he did opt to keep the thief instead of keeping the red mage. When he re-rolled, he had a chance to go fight a rainbow, chose against it. So he clearly thinks that the thief is good for something.
Well, and with an early life too, that thief can do a lot of work standing in front of your fighter in Temple of Fiends.
Yep.
Like Saltyphry made it over to Crescent Lake. Expert here for at level 6, so that'll be nice.
Yep. And a warp available at level 6 as well. That's a bit of a drag. It's going to be level 16 before the Black Mage has access to that warp spell. So that means Ice Cave is definitely going to have to be put off. And there we see the Ruby. That is one of the, ironically, last things that you want to see, because that's 2 free items as soon as you find the canal. But we have no idea where the canal is, and it looks like Fry's gonna grab some levels before he does anything else. His fighter is still, I believe, at level 4, so...
Yeah, canal or the floater would get them out into the rest of the world, and could be they may not even need to find the canal at all with having the canoe earlier already.
Yeah, if you find the floater, then you don't need the canal. But finding that ruby makes you worry that the logic is sending you to Sarda, and that can be a real drag. Canal could easily be in Keylogged Marsh. Like, you don't know. It could be anywhere. Like, Ragnarok calling for a canal in Volcano. He's apparently trying to make the seed be kind to him, because the worst place for it now would be in the Keylogged Marsh. That's going to be the last place any of these runners check.
Yeah, and looks like Saltyphry is heading up the river. Probably gonna go to Volcano, but maybe go up and see what's in Ice Cave.
Volcano seems the more likely play. He's seen Warp at level 6, so he knows if he gets some levels in Volcano, he can potentially use Warp and do the exploit to get the Ice Cave chest early. So he's definitely going to want to try to do that.
Sea trolls and sea snakes, not bad experience if they don't have too much HP. I've seen sea snakes have quite a bit of experience before though.
Yeah, Burt Reynolds, our tracker and a very solid runner on his own, has very good instincts, and he's pointing out that nobody's checked the Temple of Fiends keylogged, and there's still a very good chance that that's where we're gonna find the canal or potentially even a loose floater. And also there is a trap tile there as well that typically, if it's got a good experience, it's favored as a trap tile for grinding because it's so easy to get to. So if you run into, for example, 4 worms, you can take a couple tries to take them down. And Mages, I don't use the word exploit as a negative connotation. I think it's awesome, but it's definitely an exploit. It's not intended by developers. Although, to be fair, they didn't make it possible to get the warp spell before you were flying. So either way, it looks like Zyrak's gonna grab some white magic, but not for his thief. He keeps trying to purchase it on his thief, but is gonna fail there. Realizes his mistake and he's grabbing it on the red mage.
Yeah,
the thief would be a arguably useful character if he could learn some white magic, but unfortunately not able to do so.
Looks like Zyrak might be dealing with a little bit of nerves there. I know that's something that I'll do real easily if I'm a little nervous about a race, is pick the wrong character and can't figure out why you can't teach your red mage white magic when you're actually picking a thief.
Oh yeah, nerves and also there's a level of inexperience here too, so a lot of things could be going on. So we still haven't seen the vendor item. I'm pretty sure that we've checked all the item vendors, and like I didn't see what Crescent Lake had, but we've checked the other 3, right?
Yeah, I believe they've checked all of them, and Saltyphry I think would have had enough gold to get almost anything from the item vendors. Maybe not if it was max gold, but pretty close to it he would have had.
Yeah, so Saltyphry just finished checking the armory. He's gonna exit out and just leave. Oh, is he going to Ice Cave? Saltyphry making the Ice Cave play. See, this is fairly smart. Even though he doesn't have warp, he does have exit. And if you're planning on full clear in the dungeon and with 2 loose items, that's a pretty good plan. He doesn't lose too much in the way of time by using exit instead of warp. You wind up getting that incentive item last instead of first, but you do still get it.
Yeah, and if he's looking for levels, Ice Cave is a decent place. It can be pretty scary. There's a lot of different enemies, and you know, it's a pretty long dungeon, but there's quite a few different trap tiles you can check too, so you might find something easy to get a few levels on.
Yeah, that, and as I think Cheeseinator has pointed out to me in the past, Ice Cave is also backloaded. You have to get through everything before you can get to your first chest, which is the antithesis of Volcano, which is very front-loaded, which is why he prefers the Volcano play. But it looks like Fry's going to grab the best of both worlds. He's going to grab everything that's in Armory, and then just going to go straight for the Ice Cave. Well, when you have exit mages, you don't have to walk anything out, so Saltyphry going to be prepared for that. What was that he just got hit by, though? Some of that undead pack have something unfortunate.
Looks like
Brace with Blaze, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Burt Reynolds, for writing that down for us. Zyrak looks like he's going to be following in the footsteps of Saltyphry, heading over to Crescent Lake, gonna go see what the sages have for him.
Oh, hey, I didn't know. Okay, that's cool. I'm learning about Discord here. I didn't know that I could. It doesn't matter. So, yeah. So, Saltyphry choosing not to res his thief. Oh, nope. just as I was saying that. Saltyphry resing his thief, because that's going to help him to run from these encounters. If the thief has a time to shine, and he doesn't, but if he did, it would be here.
Yeah, thieves are real nice for Ice Cave and Marsh Cave when you really don't want to see a lot of the enemies.
Light Axe, I did not see. It's possible that they have it though. We'll know if we see it in use, or if he visits his weapon screen. Yeah, so far nothing useful. That ankylo chest, or that ankylo trap tile typically can be scary, but as long as the white mage survives, we do have revival magic.
Yeah, and
on the thief.
exit will be really nice to not have to pick that ankylo fight twice.
And Fry escapes. Does Fry remember that he has? He does. He's got 3 charges left too. He's gonna debate whether he needs to revive the thief. Chooses not to. He's a little over halfway through Ice Cave at this point, so not necessarily a bad plan. Meanwhile, Zyrak gains some levels using that Fire 3 to knock down some trash mobs. He's gonna try, this is the fight he's looking for, is the EXPs. He's gonna be able to use that Fire 3 and that black shirt to gain some XP from these guys. Looks like he's not using the black shirt.
I only have under 300 HP, so not too bad for Peds, but that black shirt would go a long ways.
Yes, it would. Saltyphry finding the opal shield. It's endgame equipment for the fighter, but for whatever reason, they decided to put 2 in the game. 2 opal shields and 1 Aegis shield. It's you can fully equip 3 fighters in terms of the shield. So it's an interesting choice that they made. Opal shield oftentimes will be sold early, but I think Saltyphry is good for gold right now. These wraiths have blaze, so Fry running as quickly as he can. Not interested in trying to take the fight down. Meanwhile, Zyrak still trying to gain some levels. Depending on how difficult the seed is, slow and steady can often win the race. So.
Nice to see mummies and those mummies when you have Harm 4, unless they have Blizzard.
Yeah, that can be scary, but the Harm 4 is going to get off. But not killing everything. I believe it was the mummy that had the blizzard, so should be alright, but Fry not sure exactly what to do here. He's going to take a moment to think, and then ultimately just hope for turn order. And the white mage is the one that needed to survive, and so he's going to pick up his tail. He's going to say that all that for a rat tail, really? And he's gonna exit out.
Yeah, so now he's got Temple of Fiends locked rooms. He has Marsh Cave or the rest of Volcano to check to try and find that canal.
Yeah. So what do you do if you're Fry in this scenario?
I think with Life 2, I would be going to Volcano and trying to full clear that. If you can find, he's already got like a flame sword, he's got a little bit of decent damage and some okay magic, so you can go all the way down. If you can't find anything on the way down, you've got exit, you can always get out if you need to.
I would tend to agree. It looks like he's going north to Provoca or likely Pop Grind. Was there anything in Provoca that he's... Is it possible there was like a vendor item that I didn't see or something like that? Well, we're going to see now.
I know we saw gold bracelets, but I don't remember if it was Canaria or Provoca.
Gold bracelets were in Elfland.
Okay.
So it does look like there was a vendor item. Oh, nope, he's just grabbing... Oh, yeah, because he's low on heal pots. Unfortunately, Provoca does not sell heal potions, so his being low is not going to be solved here. Takes a look at the armor, yeah, and the opal shield is going to get sold.
Yeah, he should be pretty well set for money. I mean, wherever you go, you're going to get even more money, but that opal armor money will go a long way.
Yeah, he maybe a little bit of a missed menu. He forgot to katana, but maybe he's just planning on dropping it. I'm kidding, the katana is useful.
Yeah, you've got the tail already, so as soon as you get Floater, you can promote that thief into a ninja, and he can start...
If I trash the thief too much, then Will Bloodworth will show up and kill me in my sleep, so I need to be careful.
Zyrek feeling good about his levels. He's gonna go check out what's in Volcano, so we'll see. He might decide, check Armory, maybe walk back out, and then go all the way down.
Yeah, if the canal or the floater is in Gurgu, then Zyrek, despite being behind, isn't too behind, because it turns out that Ice Cave check was a bit of a whammy. Aegis shield means once again you don't need the opal shield.
Yeah, Aegis gives you resistance to poison, and opal gives you resistance to lightning, but you have 4 slots where you can get opal and just 1 shot to get resistance to that poison, so Aegis is by far a better shield to have.
Chat pointing out that the seed is a bit of a tease, handing over the ruby without the canal available.
Yeah, early canoe with an early ruby is really frustrating, because you just want to go turn that in and get your items, but you can't get out.
Yeah, the ruby is for sure going to gate at least 1 key item in the Titan's Trove, but it may or may not be gating a floater as well. Chat commenting on the stats of Iron Armor. Yeah, Iron Armor is as much absorb as the gold bracelet. So, a great deal of absorb. Oh, and Saltyphry. Not likely to make it through with just the lone black mage.
Looks like he just decides to reset out. It's a smart play. If you were further, maybe you'd dive a couple chests on the next floor to see what's there, but he's far enough away from chests.
It looks like that's what he was considering, but he knew. Oh, wow, and a loose crown in the hairpin chest. That is not only interesting because Zyrak found it and Saltyphry didn't, but it's also very interesting because Saltyphry lost in the semifinals a couple of years ago to Edgeworth. And in the deciding round, the big difference was the hairpin chest. So hopefully it's not the hairpin chest coming back to haunt him again.
Yeah, and sometimes that's all it takes in a race is you leave one chest out there and think, oh, I don't want to spend the time to find that. But with 2 loose items, especially, it can be a big game changer to find a loose item, and especially if it leads to floater or floater would probably be the biggest thing at this point.
Yeah. In his race against Edgeworth, they found a vendor item was TNT, and it was too expensive for them to buy. And Edgeworth found enough gold in that hairpin chest to purchase it, and Fry did not. So Fry wound up going to Ice Cave, while Edge didn't. Like Edge wound up flying there after he grabbed the TNT, which turned into the floater. So the 2 minutes or so difference turned out to be like Edge's lead throughout the entire race as they sort of matched each other the same route point for point from then on.
Zyrak finding those caribs on the river, hopefully he'll make it through this fight and get out of it, but they can be nasty when they get stone touched like that and have a 9-pack.
Yeah, caribs, they're stoning you with just a glance there. Let's see how Zyrak chooses to handle this. He's only got 1 soft left, so chooses not to use either of them, and this may be trouble for that black mage there. He's got plenty of heal plenty of cabins though, so he shouldn't worry about a wipe here. Fry losing his white mage. He's gonna heal up and check some chests, but his chances of killing a carry are far diminished with a incomplete party. Although he does have the wizard staff, and he puts it on the black mage, potentially just in case.
Yeah, that wizard staff can be really nice against Carrie. There's almost nothing more satisfying than watching Carrie beat herself up.
And gas D's on the trap tile for Agamas. Now, that is not going to be a welcome sight right now, but it will be an incredible grind if he chooses to take care of it later. And it looks like Fry is just going to... He's checked all the chests. He's looking for the floater or the canal, and he knows that, so he's going to just see if he can get a glimpse of this last chest. Oh, nope, he's gonna go straight for carry. This is a very brave move.
That's a pretty good move there. Moves the wizard staff up to the fighter, so then, not looking to do a lot of damage against carry, and got some spells that can hopefully do some chip damage. But, oh, stun touch on carry.
Yes, stun touch on the fighter means he's just throwing ice 3s out there. He's hoping for a win here, but he knows this is actually low risk, high reward, because finding nothing that he really wanted in there, he's not going to be too upset, because he knows that he's not going to be checking these chests again. So he's not losing too much progress if he dies here.
Did get it confused there, so Carrie hit herself for 8 damage, but even more important, there were 2 turns where Carrie wasn't doing anything against it.
Yeah. Let's see if he throws out a quad X. Yep. It's about time to see if Carrie's within range for it. And she is, so an excellent play. Fry sort of steals an orb there. Takes care of Carrie. but is going to exit out without getting that hairpin crown. So this could be potentially very important. We're gonna see in just a minute what that crown is. If that crown is a floater, then despite his relative inexperience, Zyrak will jump out to a very sizable lead.
Looks like Zyrak was about to head down to Elfland, and then remembered that you can just go dock at a river and get right next to Northwest Castle. So that's a good move. Saves you a little bit of time walking everywhere.
Trying to decide which dock to dock at. And Astos has the Thor hammer. A whammy if ever there was a whammy. So that is going to be useful. It's going to give the thief something to do. But it's still not what he was hoping to find there. That crown could have sent him far into the lead, and instead it gave him a Thor hammer for his trouble.
It might push him towards where he needs to go, because it looks like it's... I don't know if we've seen the Temple of Fiends lock chest, but other than that, we have Marsh.
The progression is located either in Marsh or Key Lock Temple of Fiends. And surprisingly, Burt Reynolds saying it's time to go to Marsh. I have never before seen our tracker Burt Reynolds acknowledge the existence of Marsh unless there's literally nothing else to do.
Yeah, Bert likes to say that he just does things at random and it works out, but I do not believe him because he makes too many good plays for that to be the case.
Yeah, so there are 3 chests in Marsh. I think there's something like 18. Or, I'm sorry, there's 3 chests in Temple of Fiends. I think there's something like 18 in Marsh. I used to have all the numbers written down.
It's like Saltyphry might be heading up to Temple of Fiends, or maybe just going to Canaria to get to save the game a little bit here. We'll see.
So there are... Where's Marsh Cave? There are 13 chests in Marsh Cave, 3 of them locked with the Mystic Key. So you're looking at a 3 out of 16 chance for it to be in Temple of Fiends. Not a huge chance, but it's worth a check.
Yeah, it looks like both. Well, we'll see if Saltyphry sticks around to get some levels on these sandworms. They don't look like they're too beefy. Zyrak likes the worms and wyverns, so he's gonna keep rolling on some wings packs here.
Yeah. Saltyphry is more likely to go after the sandwiches because that the Gasties he's not going to go back for. If he had lost to Carrie and he knew that he had to go back, and there's a better chance of him skipping this fight. But even so, sandworms they're super easy. They like to give you their XP, and he's going to take advantage of this tile. Classic Gamer pointing out that 3 out of 16 is an order of magnitude better than 3 out of 256, which is the chance of getting zapped or rubbed through ribbon.
Yeah, and it is a really good, really quick check. Marsh shouldn't be too bad at level 16. We'll see where he stops the grind. I would imagine he'll go up to level 20 or so.
Yeah. Well, this is usually a quick check, but if you run into sandworms on a trap tile, then it's a good chance that you can be stuck in here for a while, just gorging yourself. So we've got two competing grinds. It's a good time to take a look at where we are. We know that Zyrak found a key item that Fry did not. While that key item did not turn out to be useful, it does mean that Zyrak knows more about what's loose than Fry does. So if Fry were to find if Fry, for example, were to find a loose floater in Temple of Fiends like he just did, Fry would not know for a fact that the loose items were accounted for, whereas Zyrak, when he finds it, will know.
Yeah, wow, and that could throw Zyrak for a loop because we haven't found Canal yet, so Canal must be in Marsh because we've seen all of Ice, we've seen just about all of Volcano. It could have been a couple of the chests that Saltyphry didn't pick up in Volcano, but if Zyrak decides to go to Marsh before Floater, he could be sailing around for quite a while.
Exactly. So, crucially, if Zyrak were to go to Marsh Cave before he visited Temple of Fiends, he's got a ruby. So he could easily find Canal, go turn in that ruby, and go looking for a floater in all the wrong places, not realizing that it was just sitting right there in Keylock Temple of Fiends. And that's Saltyphry's experience showing, where he's going to make that check before he goes to Marsh Cave. And now he's flying.
Yeah, and Zyrak is continuing to go south, so there's a very good chance that... Oh, maybe not. Maybe he's going over... Doesn't know where he's going. Maybe going to Marsh Cave, or we'll see.
Where are you going, Zyrak? What's happening?
Looks like he's going to gear up. Get those gold bracelets. That's a really good move to get the best armor you can at this point.
Absolutely. I don't disagree with that. Again, Zyrak being safe. And Fry gonna find the power bonk in that ruby blocked chest. So it looks like Sarda had the slab, and Fry's got quite a few checks still to go. He's also got the tail in his inventory, so he can go to Cardia and get that class change whenever he wants. But he's gonna check the magic first. He's gonna find Fade. He's gonna find Nuke, and level 5 magic was stacked. It's got both of the most powerful sweeping magic available.
Yeah, and those are in the perfect spots for the Black Mage as well, which is really nice.
Yeah, and Pro Rings available for sale as well. So this should be a fairly fast seed, depending on how Temple of Fiends looks, because you're flying fairly early, and it looks like he's going to be able to fully skip Marsh Cave.
Yeah, and Saltyphry doesn't really need to go back to find that crown either, so we'll see if, at some point he'll be able to logic out that he doesn't need that loose. We'll see how many chests he decides to check before he...
Yeah, so when you're in a spot like Saltyphry's, what you're going to want to do is check every incentive location that you can as early as possible. Because when he does, he'll be able to piece together that he is in go mode and does not need to clear any chests. But the longer it takes for him to piece that together, the more chests he's going to check unnecessarily. So he finds the TNT in the caravan. The vendor item cost 34,000 gold, but as the guy knew he was the only TNT vendor on the planet, he was able to set whatever price he wanted.
Yep, going and promoting right away as well. He's going to get full magic charges on his fighter and on his ninja once they promote, and after a couple levels, and get a lot more. He can use that Aegis shield. He can use better endgame swords now with both of those characters.
Yeah, and Saltyphry finding a useless Vorpal sword as well. He chooses to walk it out rather than simply resetting. Perhaps he hasn't saved in a while, who knows?
He also hasn't equipped any of that gear yet. Might be just waiting to see what he all finds in Cardia here, though.
Yeah, he doesn't have any immediate fights coming up, as he does find the for earlier. He doesn't have any fights coming up immediately. So when you have a lot of chest checks and not a lot of fights coming up, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to change your equipment every time you open. So Fry making the smart adaptation to wait until he was done with Cardia before he starts changing his equipment.
Finds that white shirt as well, so he's got the best armor for the white mage and the black mage already, plus 3 invisible 2 charges.
Question in chat, where is Floater? Floater was in the key-locked Temple of Fiends. It was completely loose. So the big question is going to be whether Zyrak goes to find that floater before he goes to Marsh Cave. Because if he goes to Marsh Cave first, then he could be sent on all sorts of a wild goose chase. Fry gonna turn in this TNT. And that's gonna give him his rod. So that's gonna allow him to get the incentivized item in Earth Cave, and then clear it in one go. So hopefully he's gonna go mode more of the dungeon. And Saltyphry going immediately to Earth Cave. You gotta like his chances, considering he's already class changed. He's got a lot of endgame equipment, and he's got a lot of levels from those sandwiches he was eating.
Yeah, plus he doesn't have to go back to Volcano with that carry fight that he was able to pull out earlier. He made a really good move and was able to get an orblet early, so that's one less place he has to go before the end of the game.
Yeah, that was a clutch carry fight. It's not necessarily going to be easy. Made great use of that wizard staff and used some of those Ice 3 spell charges. They weren't doing a whole lot of damage, but they did enough that he was able to quad X carry down.
Ilmar Supermiller, this is actually, this week Earth Cave is an incentive location, so this is a really good play, especially if you have the rod. You can go, and that just behind the vampire is a incentivized location, so he'll find something there. We don't know if it'll be progression or not, but yeah, usually you'd want to save Earth until the very end because you're not guaranteed to get anything in here, and we already know that the loose items have both been found, even though Salty doesn't know that yet.
Yeah. Choosing to reset out, didn't find anything that he found particularly useful, so he's just going to keep slogging on. You got to expect him to full clear Earth, though, because he has not turned in the slab. He has not collected everything, so he does not yet know whether the loot, for example, is loose somewhere. So he's going to want to limit the number of chests that he orphans, because if you find yourself having cleared all the dungeons, it's a drag to have to go back. Nope, find an Excalibur. He's going to equip that right away. Definitely more useful than the Light Axe, which he was wielding, I'm going to point out, instead, in place of the Vorpal, which he also had access to. So he could have chosen to wield the Vorpal, but instead he said, you know, the Light Axe is good enough.
Light axes are pretty nice to have with you.
Yeah, light axe not among the elite weapons. It's significantly less than even the fire sword, but it's sometimes you just don't want the feeling of equipping a Vorpal. Sometimes it makes you feel dirty a little. So Salty's just gonna choose to avoid it. Sorry, Fry gonna choose to avoid it.
So we are about an hour in. I can give you a quick recap. We have Saltyphry has already taken out Carrie. Did it with a wizard staff and a hope and a dream because he didn't have a whole lot more going into that fight. But the fighter and the black mage made it work with a wizard staff and a bunch of spells and a quad X to finish. We have found both loose items, although neither runner has found both of them. Zyrak found the crown in the hairpins of the volcano armory floor, and that turned into the Thor's hammer when he took it out to Astos. And Saltyphry found the floater in the top right Temple of Fiends locked chest, which Zyrak hasn't checked yet, and Zyrak's still looking for his canal. So it could be a little while. He's looking through ice. Hopefully gonna go Temple of Fiends before Marsh Cave.
Absolutely. Zyrak having a level 16 had one charge of warp, so it does the warp trick for everybody. I have to remind myself constantly, Saltyphry prefers to be abbreviated as Fry and not as Salty. So I keep having to prevent myself because Fry, if you watch this, I'm sorry if I called you Salty. We all know that you're not.
Yeah,
So yeah, Canal is absolutely in Marsh. So for all of those people who are rooting for Canal to be in Marsh, you want. That said, they're not going to Marsh probably because the floater was loose in Temple of Fiends. Does calling him salty make him salty? I doubt it. I think that he considers himself already to be salty. But he uses the word salty to mean delicious and not to mean particularly angry.
I didn't see what Zyrak ran into, but it looks like he wiped out of Ice Cave there, so he's gonna have to try and go back in again to get that tail.
Did he wipe or did he exit? Look, I think you're right though. I think he wiped. He doesn't have the exit spell, so that would make sense.
Yeah, exit was level 1, but it was white mage locked, and we actually saw Saltyphry go back, drop his red mage, and pick up a white mage just so they could get exit.
Yeah, exit is the one spell that if you see it, white mage learnable only, it might be worth, even if it takes you a full 2 minutes to rename all of your party, it might still be worth grabbing the white mage. Classic Gamer pointing out that Zyrak could easily, if he accidentally, if he checks Marsh before he checks Temple of Fiends, Zyrak could easily wind up on a wild goose chase, running around the sea looking for a floater that's been in the Temple of Fiends the whole time. So, this vampire used to be a mini-boss, and now he's a meme. Very rarely gets to take a turn. And the loot. Even though Fry doesn't have full knowledge of what's where, finding that loot is always good because it cuts off the number of chests that could be needed for progression. Because if you don't have the chime yet, then you know the chime isn't in Marsh or Sky. Or I'm sorry, rather Mirage or Sky.
Zyrak took advantage of pushing B to stop dashing and took his time around those warp circles so he could find just the right one to use the warp trick, which is a good move if you're a little nervous or if you're not really comfortable with the movement because you want to make sure that you hit the right circle.
Yeah, Zyrak, you can see, inexperienced with Final Fantasy Randomizer, but quite experienced with racing and with learning randomizers. So he's got a lot of good habits. He's doing things safely and methodically. He's making sure that he's not taking on anything he's not prepared to, and he's gonna be consistent and then progressively get better. So it's hard to argue with that. Definitely welcoming him to the community and glad to see him. And he's not a favorite to win this race, but hopefully we'll see him progress throughout this tournament. And that's what it's all about for a lot of people.
Yeah, and that's the best part, I think, about the spring tournament is, especially with 6 weeks of Swiss rounds, you see people have progressed quite a bit from week 1 to week 2. By week 6, everybody's going to be on top of their game. They've been doing a lot of races, and you've got at least 6 guaranteed races against pretty good competition, and within the 3rd week or so, you'll be sorted out to competition that's right around your level, so you see a lot of competitive races.
Absolutely. So these images are going to delay Fry for a little bit. They just wanted to talk with him. Fry approaching his 2nd orb, just absolutely flying through the seed. He may have his 2nd orb lit before 2 hours into the seed, or before an hour into the seed.
Yeah, and Lich, not much more of a speed bump than the vampire, so going right through the Earth Cave, and he gets that 2nd orb just before an hour in. So that's a really good time, making some good progress. Probably gonna go check some more incentives.
Yeah, usually with me, at 1 hour in, I sort of have an idea where the floater is. So to be flying and have 2 orbs lit and be class changed, that's real impressive. So Fry's gonna take on the Castle of Ordeal. No, he's not. He's going to make fun of me for thinking that he was gonna, for falling for his bait there. I got outsmarted. He's instead gonna go directly to Lefane. He's gonna show off his bilingual capacity.
And he's showing that he's really learned this encounter table at the beginning of it very well, not taking any fights on the way to Lefane, because he knows just where to use those cabins, and he's got quite the stack of them.
Yeah, it looks like the chime is dripping in vanilla.
So that makes
He's got the chime and the cube.
Do you go right over to?
It looks like the opal bracelet is gonna be. Oh no! So what do we still need? We've got the key. Oh yeah, we still need Oxyale. So he still needs to find Oxyale. Oxyale and the opal bracelet are gonna be available. One of them's in Ordeals. One of them's in Waterfall, and he's gonna take a look. J-Lo speculating Fry might go for Orb 3 right now. The reason he's not is because he doesn't know where the other... So he's going to try to check Ordeals, and if Ordeals has a opal bracelet, he's probably going to check Waterfall before he does Sky. Because he wants to know whether he needs to check all the chests. He's currently got Knight with Excalibur equipped. He feels comfortable enough that he would be able to take on Temple of Fiends with this equipment.
Yeah, and Zyrak is heading up. He's on the top side of Mars. Checked one cave already. Found just some gold. We'll see where that canal is. It's most likely here in the Mars cave. I think there's one cave in Volcano, or one treasure chest in Volcano that we haven't seen.
Yeah, you hate to see Zyrak get sort of baited here, because he's likely to find canal, and then he's unlikely to check the Temple of Fiends chest, so he's unlikely to find floater for a while.
Yeah, and with that chime, the floater is required to be able to finish this seed, because you need to be able to get to Lefane with the airship.
But yeah, Zyrak is while he's not a Final Fantasy Randomizer veteran, he is a racing vet, and he does know that sometimes these kinds of things can happen. So even if he does wind up going on a wild goose chase and everything, he's going to be able to watch this video back. He's going to see that he just missed a couple chests, and I always have faith in people who are veteran speedrunners because they tend to learn real quickly from their mistakes.
And really, not checking those Temple of Fiends locked chests, that's something even a lot of people who play this randomizer quite a bit will do, is they'll save that to the end, because a lot of times you don't find anything.
I guarantee even whoever winds up in the final, both of them will have stories for you about they forgot to check those 2 chests in Dwarf Cave and it came back to bite them, or they forgot to check key-locked Temple of Fiends, or they checked everything but key-locked Marsh because they refused to double dip. Right? We've all got stories of orphaning that one chest and making that mistake. I mean, Saltyphry himself has would be able to tell you probably the story of when he orphaned that hairpin chest. And even though it only had gold in it, it still cost him a race.
A lot of good fighter gear here in Marsh Cave. Not exactly what you want to see, but Opal Helmet, Opal Gauntlet, and the Bane Sword was found down there. So it's some pretty decent stuff for once he class changes.
Oh yeah, it's possible that he could find like a mass muni and be well on his way to having an advantage in equipment, but it's going to be hard to compete with someone who's got Saltyphry's already got 2 orbs lit. He's absolutely racing through this scene.
Yeah, and
he's going to grab the Agamas a second time on his way past. I don't think he's going to stay there too long, but he's willing to fight them one more time.
Yeah, if he wants any more levels, this is probably the place to get it. Doesn't look like they're doing much for damage either.
Well, there's just so many encounters available. I think if he decides that he wants levels late in the we'll probably grab the sandwiches that are still chilling in Temple of Fiends. As Zyrak finds another interesting grind tile with the Vampire Party pack. Oh man, I used to know what they were calling this tile.
Oh, I think that's the Twilight Special.
The Twilight, yeah, the Twilight Fan Club. There we go. Thank you.
Saltyphry does pull the Oxyel out of the Temple of Ordeal, so.
Okay, so Saltyphry's he's an old school runner, so you got to expect him to check the chests that are on the way. So I'm going to expect him to check 4 chests in Sky and probably not much else at this point. He may grab a couple chests in Sea Shrine left side as well. But he knows that he's in go mode and gonna go.
Yeah, I think the only thing he's really missing is a ribbon, but he's also got wall on that white mage, so probably not too worried about it.
Does he have any ribbons yet? No, and I don't know that he's gonna find it. See, these jet seeds were a lot more common in a lot of the earlier flag sets that we used to run, and Saltyphry is right in his wheelhouse here. He knows how to play these seeds, and he knows that he knows not to underestimate his opponent. He knows there's a good chance whenever you're playing a seed like this that your opponent can be going just as fast as you, and it's bad to hesitate for anything.
Zyrak finds quite a bit of gear down in the Marsh Cave. Found the Sun Sword down there. That's a really nice one to find.
Yeah, Sun Sword's going to be good for him while he doesn't have the Excalibur and he doesn't have the class change. He found the canal, didn't he?
I don't see it, and I don't see it in the notes, so he may not have gotten that canal.
He may be incredibly lucky, because if the canal is not, in fact, like one chest that was skipped in Gurgu, then that would mean that he won't be on that wild goose chase. He may wind up finding that loose floater after all. Yeah, it could easily be the red D chest. That is a good point. Made by looks like Muller. Muller, did I say your name right? You can tell me if I'm not.
Yeah, because I think that is the only chest we haven't seen in all of the southern continent, so it would have to be in that red D chest. Hopefully Zyrek will head up to Temple of Fiends and check that out.
So I'm gonna try this Ilmar's Ubermuller. I hope I got that right. But yeah, as chat's pointing out, that's one of the chests that it could be. I think that's the only chest that neither Zyrek nor Saltyphry took a look at. So, question is whether Zyrek will remember that Temple of Fiends has key-locked items.
And it looks like he's heading up that way, so...
Meanwhile, Saltyphry losing his knight, but looks like he's going to make it through this fight with an intact white mage. And that's where that Life 2 spell is going to be very important. The knight will ultimately not be able to learn Life 2, even though Life 2 was level 3, it was in a white mage only slot. So the knight won't be able to revive anybody the way the white mage does. And Fry gonna prove me wrong and continue to check some chests. He is looking for that ribbon.
Especially with warp, he's probably gonna warp back right here. Just not too far out of the way.
He's gonna take the... Interestingly... Oh, okay, no, that makes sense. So he opts to use the gold bracelet instead of the black shirt. The black shirt is almost equal to the gold bracelet in terms of armor, but it resists time magic. But giving it to the white mage is going to allow her to use it to use it as an item and not waste as many spell charges to get through these fights. Zyrak's still trying to figure out where progression could possibly be hiding. He shows he actually didn't check the chests in Matoya either. He is, as they say, getting warm. So yeah, Fry gonna check these chests on Sky 4 as well, or Sky 3 rather. It's always a it's always good to check these chests when you're looking for something, because the fights here are very efficient in terms of XP. Like, if you're gonna check for chests, if you're gonna look for any extra equipment, this is a great place to look, because not only is it dense in terms of chests, it's dense in terms of XP per step. But the lack of any Lit 3 is gonna cause Fry to dodge out of that guard fight. The sentry can be very very tough when you don't have the magic he's weak to.
And it looks like Zyrek's gonna head back to the volcano. Probably gonna
go... No, Zyrek! Zyrek, why? Chat, send Zyrek your energy. See if you can help him to remember that Temple of Fiends has some key lock chests that he wants to check. Meanwhile, Saltyphry gonna find the flame armor. That's not what he was looking for, but it's gonna be useful for his ninja if he decides to wake him up. He did equip the katana onto him, so it looks like he's planning on using him for something.
Yeah, Volcano is really not a bad play from Zyrek's point of view. There's a lot more chests there, which he hasn't checked yet. It's just we know that what he's looking for isn't in Volcano, and the red herring of this seed is probably what he's gonna find.
Yeah, so Fry keeping the pro ring on the knight for now. We'll see if he gives him the power bonk later. It's probably going to depend if he can find that ribbon. Oh, hey, he found that ribbon. So everything is coming up for Saltyphry here. Those 4 chests are incidentally the only 4 that I thought I was going to check. And you can see from Saltyphry the way he's rearranged. See his plan. He gives the white shirt now to the ninja, so the ninja is likely going to be a source of some Invis 2 charges. Yep. So the knight is going to be his damage source, but he's likely to revive the ninja just to take a hit and potentially provide some evasion stacks, which never hurts.
Yeah, I like that move. I don't think we've seen Invis 2, but he may go and take a look for it. Although at this point he might be just go moding and trying to get through the rest of the seed as quick as he can.
Yeah, if I were a gambling man, and I usually am, I would gamble that Fry won't check any more chests, with the potential exception of 3 chests in the Sharknado room.
Yeah, those are pretty much only a few steps out of the way. You maybe waste 5 to 10 steps to pick up those 3 chests.
Yeah, you can check one of those chests without taking any extra theoretical steps. Like all the steps that you take are free to grab one of those chests.
Saltyphry is on the Bridge of Destiny and Classic Game is already there. He's got some Bless RNGs out in chat, hoping to see that Warmech, see what Saltyphry can do if he finds that robot chicken.
Yeah, if Fry manages to encounter the Warmech, there's a good chance that he'll choose to fight it, so it would be interesting to see. Yeah, he's got levels in the high 20s. He is incredibly he's gonna be confident now that he can get through everything. He's even got Brack charges for Tiamat, just in case the fighter isn't doing too well, so he's likely to make short work of the remainder of this dungeon and head straight for Sea Shrine.
Find some nachos to get a little bit of extra experience and, fill up your belly right before Tiamat.
Yeah, Zyrak having trouble, I believe, with those bowls. Although I don't know that the gas Ds were particularly kind to it. Shout out to our excellent tracker, Burt Reynolds, whose notes are incredibly helpful here, telling us the notable enemies and been killing who. If you get shout out to all our crew. If you get a chance, go ahead and give him a follow. Burt Reynolds is a strong racer in his own right, and so is Gouda632, who is doing our restream for us. Also, of course, give these runners a follow. Both Zyrak and Saltyphry are great follows if you enjoy Final Fantasy Randomizer, but also if you enjoy other kinds of speed gaming, because both of them are diverse. I know Pry, for example, does a lot of A Link to the Past Randomizer, and it is pretty good there as well.
Saltyphry doesn't have too much trouble with that Tiamat. Took a little bit of time, but...
And the defense sword in that chest, which on the positive side isn't the canal, but it leaves me wondering what hasn't been. You know what? There are chests on the armory checked. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think no one checked the 2 chests north of the main armory itself.
Which is like Zyrak. Let's hope he forgets those. Let's hope he remembers the Temple of Fiends chest before he remembers those 2 other chests. So here we are. This is a fight that Saltyphry made short work of. So you got to expect that Zyrak's going to be all right, but you never know. Carrie could show something that we didn't see. So he's going to make all the effort that he can. He's fasted up his fighter. He's throwing some Ice 2 charges out of it. And Carrie's stun touch is which Saltyphry saw as well, is gonna stop the fighter just for a turn.
Yep, and Carrie does go down. Not
296 damage will take him down, and Zyrak at 119.14 is gonna light his first orb. And he's still not sure where to go. It looks like he's gonna check Ice Cave. No, he knows that he's already done everything there. So, chat, try to send him your energy. Hope that remember Temple of Fiends, buddy. Temple of Fiends key locked. Meanwhile, Saltyphry just going so fast through this. He is already deep into Sea Shrine. He's gonna be fighting. Yeah, it looks like Zyrak's going for a pop grind. Meanwhile, Saltyphry is gonna be fighting Kraken for his 4th orb very shortly.
Yeah, I think Zyrak may not know about those chests in the Temple of Fiends, or may have completely forgotten about them, which is always a rough spot to be in as a runner.
Yeah, so this is a site that isn't as commonly shown now, but one of our older Final Fantasy Randomizer runners, Files, made a site, and this lists all of the item locations, all of the chests that you can find. So for any newer runner, it's a good site to take a look at. That's how I knew that Marsh Cave had exactly 13 chests, 3 of them blocked by the Mystic Key.
Yeah, and that is a wonderful site. It's been around pretty much as long as the Randomizer. I know when I first found the Randomizer a few years ago and started playing a couple seeds just for fun, that I relied on that site pretty heavily.
Yeah, and Dark Moon, I think, has got another site that he's been posting. I don't know that he made it, but I know that he was posting the link of it. I'm afraid I don't have it, but there are a lot of other interesting tutorial sites to help cut your teeth on these. So even though registration for this tournament is closed, anybody watching who feels like Final Fantasy Randomizer might be interested, now is a great chance to join the Discord, to come into the community. Right now, whenever you got a tournament going, everybody's racing. It's always easy to find somebody who wants to run a seed. So it's a great time to join in and learn about the game, and hopefully we'll see you at the next big event.
Yeah, and even if you've never played the game before, but you think it just looks interesting, you can join the Discord. There's always people around. You can ask questions in the chat. Usually you'll get 5 or 6 people who are going to answer you and point you in the right direction, give you tips, and help you to the extent that you want.
Meanwhile, Kraken just immediately takes out both the black mage and the white mage, but the fighter was the one that needed to be taken down, and he manages to take Kraken down first. So that is the 4th orb lit at 122.30, and Saltyphry going to immediately head towards Temple of Fiends, you'd expect. He might stop to buy. Oh! And Zyrak has figured out what he was missing. As a classic gamer says, speaking of the right direction. So they're gonna high five in Temple of Fiends, and Fry is actually gonna take a couple levels. He's gonna take advantage of having fighter alive. This is a real impressive routing from Fry. Right, there is no way that he planned to have both of his mages dead, and there's a good chance that this grind would not happen if he didn't. But he knows that this is an opportunity to pull a few more levels. He knows that level 29 is going to be an important break point for that Excal. So he's going to take this opportunity just in case Temple of Fiends is going to throw something at him. He's going to take this really quick grind and then likely revive his White Mage and Black Mage. He might even throw a bone to the ninja.
I'll be interested to see if he goes up to 32 and then gets the extra hit point, or the extra hit for that Vorpal as well, because Vorpal can be better than the Excal against Chaos and Tiamat that don't have elemental weaknesses.
It is hard to say, but my expectation is going to be that he's going to go for 29.
Yeah, and this was a really good move. You saw, I was wondering, as soon as he got out of the Sea Shrine, he went right to his boat. He didn't even think of going back into Onrak, so as soon as he saw his warriors were dead, he knew right where he was going.
Yeah, I expect he's going to have to visit Conneria anyway, because he's going to need to buy some heal pots. Right? You don't usually want to walk into Topher and then realize, oh, I've only got 30 heal pots. Right? Because that's usually just going to be time lost.
And Zyrek is in the air. He's got his floater, so he's going to go and check out some of the locations. Looks like he's not sure where he wants to go first, though.
Yeah, it's always rough when you discover a floater somewhere that you could have had access to the whole time. You always feel behind. You always wonder, oh man, what did I miss? What could I have done? You know, so Zyrek lucking out a bit that he dodged the canal, but still probably aware he's very behind at this point.
Yeah, and I like the move to go check Ruby, and I'm sure he'll check Sarda after this. You've got two of them that are right next to each other. It's always good to check out a couple of those incentives when they're right in the same spot.
And this is what you do when you're new to the randomizer, right? It sucks, but you shake it off and you just continue with your run. So here he is. He knows he's likely behind, but he's still gonna take the time to make all of these checks and just do this methodically and ignore his timer. Just try and get this done as quickly as he can, because when you're new, you're not competing against your opponent, you're competing against yourself. So it looks like Fry has completed his grind. I didn't see exactly what level he stopped at. We'll see if you were right and he went to 32. He did linger there for a little expected, so I suspect you might have been right on the money there.
He might have even just gone, say, 30 or 31 and figured that he could get the rest of the levels on the way down, too.
Yeah, and he is going to grab some healing magic for the fighter. Not entirely necessary, but it never hurts. Especially when you're already in Conneria. I don't expect that he's going to take the trip to Provoca and grab Heat 3, although he may. Nope, he's going just straight up. He's given Chaos too long a break. It's time for him to go set things right.
And Saltyphry is going to be our first runner into the Temple of Fiends Revisited at 1 hour and 27 minutes, so making really good time through this season.
Chad opining that he probably went to 32. I would say you're probably right. I didn't see, but that's what you'd expect. He was at level 27 and then stuck around for a little over like 90 seconds more. So meanwhile, Zyrek not familiar with which Cardia Isles are chests and which ones are not. It's another common thing that happens, you know. This is how you learn.
Yeah, it took me a long time to learn that it's the swampy island has a chest, the single entrance on the forest island, and then the bottom of the forest, the double forest island, and then there's that like desert or prairie island that have chests in them.
Yeah. To answer Cheeseinator's question, Saltyphry started with the same party that Zyrak did. That is the fighter, the thief, the red mage, black mage. And then the first thing he saw in the white magic was a white mage only exit spell. And he immediately re-rolled his party. And it wound up, like, it's a good move all on its own, but it wound up being an excellent move because he also found White Mage was the only one that had any revival magic, and there was also Heal 3 that was learnable, so and even Wall, so very, very useful to have the White Mage available. As Burt Reynolds points out, level 1 Black Magic also only had the Ice spell, although level 2 Magic had, I believe, Fire 3, so it was still in pretty good shape.
Zyrak gets promoted, does a nice job doing his menuing, getting his warriors set up, not walking out until he knows he's got the best gear on that he has available, and he's got some pretty good gear that he dug out of Marsh there.
Fry is definitely going as fast as he can, but it's so tempting to kill Gurmaduses, and Fry is unable to resist eating just one.
Yeah, and this fight will add a lot of levels to that ninja if he can make it through.
Yeah, and those levels on the ninja are going to be really important because hang on. Well, they will be. Meanwhile, Zyrak finishing all of his cardia checks. He's not going to find any progression in there, but he's already flying, and he actually knows where all the two loose items are. So he's in what you'd call no mode. He knows what he needs to do now. Although it looks like he's going to go for Waterfall. It's not a bad call, but it's not, as we know, it's not the right call.
And we did briefly see Lich 2 on our screen there. Saltyphry's already made his way through the earth floor, heading down to carry. Looks like Lich took out that ninja in the course of that.
Yeah. Lich actually had both crack and nuclear, so Lich 2, not a slouch, but not a threat to an experienced veteran like Fry. He's gonna take him out in a couple turns and just advance.
Especially with the 600 hit points on that knight, it's gonna be pretty hard to kill that guy.
So will Zyrak remember the vendor item in the caravan? To answer your question, yes, Saltyphry did find ribbon in the 4 obvious chests in Sky, though he dug more chests in Sky. And Carry gonna go down, and Fry just has the seafloor and the Fiend Gauntlet ahead of him. Because the seafloor is a long one, but the air floor is very short. And after the air floor, you immediately have chaos, and there's no random encounters in his floor. So once you're through the seafloor, you've got 3 boss fights in quick succession, and then ideally a dot done.
Yeah, but these 3 fiends each of them can on their own right be a party killer on their own.
Yeah, any of these fiends can, and this water floor is no slouch. Not too long ago, Darkmoon had he lost roughly 40 minutes to wipes that always began on this water floor. So You can't underestimate anything in Temple. Anything can kill you. It's just some things are better at it than others.
Kenjutsu, that's a great question, asking if Chaos's abilities are random. The four fiends and Chaos, as well as Warmech, share a pool of abilities and spells that they all would have had from the vanilla game, and so it gets randomized throughout those 6 fights. And so Chaos could have Cure 4, could have Nuclear, Blizzard, Thunder, Swirl. There's all sorts of different abilities and spells out there, and a lot of them are pretty nasty.
So, Saltyphry getting a little bit lucky, in that the Kraken had Bane, but Kraken's Bane spell did not kill the Knight, and that's who needed to live through it. The Wall spell got off right after, so Fry gonna need this White Mage to survive if he wants any of the rest of his party to stay alive, though. So he's gonna try and get this Cure 4 off, and he's gonna succeed. Yeah, Kraken takes 494 damage, still standing strong, and reaching out to touch that White Mage. Fry may have meant to use a Cure 4, but instead uses the Fade charge there. Either one, yeah, it was deliberately a Fade. He knows that Kraken's almost dead. 148 damage from that last Fade takes him down, and he's gonna revive the rest of his party and press on. That was a potentially close fight, but Fry, after surviving that Bane, was able to clutch it out.
Yeah, and a lot of resources were used on that fight, but made it through. Did a good job. I'm not sure if he moved that power gauntlet from the ninja back to his knight or not. It didn't look like he used it at all in that fight.
Yeah, it looked like the knight had the power bonk. The ninja, I know. Yeah, see, the ninja has the Vorpal, rather the katana as well. But he also has the white shirt, and that's what he's likely to be doing.
Yeah, and that's a good move. It opens up your white wizard to throw out wall right away and protect that
Yes.
that you really need.
So he's gonna spend the first 2 rounds of this fight largely buffing up. Did not find Temper as a spell, so the Black Mage is gonna get the damage ball start rolling with 113 damage from a nuke. Yeah, so looks like he's still cast a nuke. I didn't see. Yeah, it looks like he's done buffing up. He's gonna take 1 swing, 10 hits, 754 damage, and there goes Tiamat.
Yeah, and Saltyphry's on to Chaos's floor. Didn't find any cheeky golems on the way out.
Yeah, so we're gonna see his final setup for this fight. Looks like he's gonna take the usual move of moving that ribbon directly to the fighter. You don't need the White Mage to survive anymore because you're not going to be reviving anybody after this fight. So healing up all of his party, he's likely to go for buffs, defensive buffs on that fighter as much as he can. Bring the power bonk up and then swing to win. It's going to be important that the Black Mage, though he's near the front, it's going to be important that he manages to get this fast spell off. And he's going to, because Lit 2 is not particularly scary.
Yeah, and
So Chaos granting a round of buffs.
Zarek is continuing to do his incentive checks, doing a nice job of checking those boxes off.
Yeah, Fry gonna use some nukes. He doesn't have a whole lot to do from, so they're just gonna try to be useful, get a little bit of damage in, get a little. But the ninja's using the white shirt. He's gonna try and stack up evasion because the fighter does not have the defense sword. He did not check that volcano red D chest and find it. So fighter will not have a way to stack absorb. He does have a way to stack damage, and that's what he's doing.
Yeah, and this ninja staying alive for this many turns is really an advantage for him with getting a lot of evade on his characters.
Yeah, it's very rare, but it happens occasionally. Saltyphry is going to use a Lock 2 charge. We don't know whether Chaos has a lot of absorb, but if he did, he doesn't have much anymore. And 7 hits for 169 damage. It looks like he's going to need a few more power bonk charges before he gets everything all squared away. So we're going to see if he uses the power bonk again, or if he just goes ahead and swings. He's gonna bonk one more time. And Chaos only hit 7 times, so he did still evade 3 hits. So he's gonna use a couple more Lock 2 charges. Doesn't hurt. See if you can increase your average damage against Chaos, and he's gonna swing here. Let's see how much damage he does. The Lock 2 will go off first, so this knight's going to do as much damage as it can here, and 7 hits, 673 damage. That's the kind of thing that you want to see. Still going to do the Lock 2. He still was invading 3 hits, but that's definitely an okay to swing. And it looks like Chaos, 9 hits, 573 damage. It does not look like Chaos is particularly interested in doing any damage, so he's going to continue to swing and miss. And the knight with 803 damage, he's going to chip down away at him. Looks like it won't be much longer now. But Chaos has been holding on to Nuke all of this time. Chaos not following Sans' advice and starting with your strongest attack. He simply sits around for most of these buffs, allows it all to go off, and then finally uses Nuke. He takes another 674 damage. He's clearly got a lot of HP, but with 953 damage, he finally fall. Get your GGs out for Chaos, or for Saltyphry. He beat Chaos with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 6 seconds. Saltyphry is done. GG to him. Zyrak getting the news, and Zyrak's going to forfeit. He says in chat, "Thank you for putting me out of my misery." Yeah, it was a rough seed for him. So he's definitely got a little bit of kinks to work out in the early game, but still, you're competing against yourself and had a very solid progression once you found that floater. So hang in there, and surely we'll see him. We'll see him for more races, and hopefully see some improvement. But we're gonna get some interviews going.
Yeah, and here's Saltyphry in here right now.
Saltyphry, GG.
Thanks, GG.
So found that floater. It's got to be a good thing that you missed the canal check in Volcano.
Oh, that where it was in one of those chests on the second floor there?
Yeah, we pieced it together that's where it was. Right. Both of you managed to dodge it. It turns out that hairpin chest had a crown loose, and that could easily have been something, but it turned out to be just a Thor hammer. So
yeah, I guess it was that, and then I guess the opal bracelet must have been over in Waterfall as well, I guess, since I never went. Overall, I guess I kind of got lucky in that retrospect. I guess in terms of magic, the seed was pretty crappy, that's for sure. Especially early on, there was a whole lot of nothing. It's very, very rare that you'll ever see me actually change my party like I did at the start of this seed, actually. But I get out there, and there's nothing in level 1 at all for pretty much either mage. The exit was going to be the only thing, and that wasn't available with a red mage. So I'm alright, screw this. Yeah, screw this. Yeah, I figured why not. This felt like if ever I was going to do it, this felt like the right kind of instance to do that instead. And I guess it felt like it
turned out to be a very good play.
Yeah, given where all the other magic was, I felt like it worked out pretty well, I think. Normally I wouldn't do that, but it just kind of felt, with that really crappy magic at the start there, I figured having the white mage maybe would actually work out pretty good in the long run. Then just having a guarantee that I'm probably going to get a couple of those spells. I guess I would have missed life as well if I had gone with the red mage like I had originally planned as well. It would have been crummy.
Yeah, I gotta ask you, right before this race started, did you just get done with a Link to the Past randomizer?
Yep, I did. Well, I guess about 30 minutes or so beforehand, I guess it was.
So
It was
yeah,
just-
you
it was just
are
a-
all over the map there.
Yeah, just a random pickup race. I knew I was should have been done in time unless things went completely horrible in that other race. So yeah, I had a little time to spare, and I probably should have been practicing this, but I was like, yeah, it sounded interesting. It wasn't just a regular kind of open race that you normally see there, so it was a little more interesting. So I decided to jump into it. That's kind of the whole reason I did that.
Yeah, definitely GG. Zyrak, you're not new to oh, are we close? Did we just quit? Oh, okay. Well, Zyrak, you are not new. Yeah, you are not new to racing, but you're new to Final Fantasy Randomizer. Can you tell us how you felt about this race?
Feels bad, man. Is that the one word that I can use? That was just every single decision was the wrong one, from party composition to last checking the floater. So yeah, that was just awful.
Yeah, it was a little rough forgetting where the Temple of Fiends chests were. That said, you're always going to expect a little bit of roughness from a newer runner. This was your second SRL race on Final Fantasy Randomizer, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I haven't done it on SRL much. Like, I play it casually on my own with friends and stuff. Maybe not all the time, but relatively frequently. I just haven't raced it on SRL all that often. And it's not that I didn't forget about them. I was just, there's only 3 of them, and none of them are incentivized or anything. It's like, there's 8 billion chests in Gurgu Volcano and Ice Cave and everywhere else. But I mean, I know they're freebies, but yeah, I was just playing the odds, and they certainly didn't work out for me.
Yeah, it was like you made the right mathematical play in terms of going to Marsh Cave. We hadn't yet found the canal. After we were sure it was in Marsh Cave. We were really worried for you when you went to Marsh, because we were worried you're going to find the canal before finding that floater and go to turn in the ruby and start sailing around the sea. So sort of luckily, I think you missed a chest in Gurgu that we've pieced together is probably where the canal was.
Yeah,
it was a bit of a rough seed. I apologize to both of you for running that or for rolling that.
Yeah, I realized after I left that I forgot to go back for those 2 chests on the first floor. So, yeah, but when I was running up to check that last chest, I was like, if I missed it in those, it's either sitting in those 2 chests or there's a map edit I don't know about, and then it was floater, and I just put my head in my hands, and I was like, oh my god. So
Yeah, we've all had that feeling where you check something that was available from the beginning and you find a floater and you go, I am so behind.
yeah, pretty much. So I was just gonna try to fly through. I mean, basically, Salty plays this way more than I do and plays it competitively at a high level. Like, this is my 2nd week in a row against the top 20 racer, in my opinion. I was like, yeah, like, I'm just gonna do the quick and easy stuff, and hopefully he did the same thing I did, shrugged shoulders. But yeah, no. Once the
my
floater
heart
was
goes
there,
out to
yeah.
You've had a real rough competition in the first 2 weeks, but you've hung in there and given it your all. Salty, I gotta ask you, was that last grind planned or was it opportunistic?
It was just kind of nice that it was right there more than anything. And I figured going into Temple of Fiends, I wasn't exactly comfortable with my levels per se. I could have used a couple more. And after cracking wiped out both my mages, it kind of felt ideal as well. It was something I was thinking about doing regardless. And with both my mages dead, it was pretty much perfect. it's nice and easy just to kind of sit there and grind on just my knight, get him up to a nice beefy level, and yeah, kind of help just carry me through. I figured at that point in time.
Yeah, your knight surviving through that Bane. I mean, turn order was not in your favor there, where the wall cast didn't get off first, but yeah, your knight managing to survive, that was pretty big for you.
Yeah, that's a kind of Bane. Yeah, you survived Bane, you survived Crack. I didn't see Zap, but those are kind of the three scary ones when you got like even with a 600, 700 HP knight or a
Oh, I
beefy
guess you
black
had
circle. There's
Aegis
some like,
Shield, didn't you?
oh, I did, yeah. So that
Oh,
kind
so I
of,
guess Bane wasn't really
yeah,
that big a
I
deal,
forgot
but
about that. Yeah,
yeah,
but
so
even
did
I was
I
thinking
until
that as
just now. But
well.
I guess, but Crack, you're right, would be more dangerous for sure.
Yeah, I saw that on Lich, but again, Lich isn't really a scary one usually because usually he doesn't have too much HP, so you can get him down regardless.
Excellent. So, Zyrak, I'm sorry. I know that you race other stuff. I didn't get a good look at what else you do. What other games do you like to run?
I do a lot of Z3, along with obviously Salty does too. FF4, Super Mario 64. I dabble in a lot of the bigger randomizers. Again, I don't race all of them on SRL, but with friends and stuff at the very least, usually I mess around with 6 or 7 of them.
So yeah, once again to chat. If you're interested in a variety of randomizers, give both Saltyphry and Zyrak a follow. Both of them, you're gonna have a variety hour. Anyway, Darren, you had any questions you wanted to ask?
No, I think we've pretty well wrapped it up. But both of you, that was a rough seed, especially for you, Iraq. That's a tough location. A lot of people will miss those chests, so I definitely can't fault you on that. But there's 4 more weeks of the spring tournament left, and so just something one to learn from and keep moving forward. So good job on keep going, and as far as you did, and making a lot of plays. Probably learned a bit from this race.
Yeah, I definitely just have to start taking the freebies when they're there. I've been burnt with Sheila 1 and Final Fantasy 4 often enough that I should know better than to leave the freebies without going to check them.
Yeah, that's people wind up like what makes them careful is losing races to stupid things. And you can always tell a veteran because they'll make a check and you go like that's very very rarely going to be a problem, but you know that they've lost 2 or 3 races where it was. But yeah, we're gonna start to wrap up. So if we can get some final thoughts, Zyrak, you have anything you wanted to say before we go?
No, like I said, just gotta check the freebies. GG, Salty, good race, good luck in the coming weeks, and thanks everybody for all the restream help.
Absolutely, and GG, Zach, Salty, you're the winner. You advanced to 1-1, having lost sort of a close and rough seed to Shadow Walker. You have any final thoughts now?
I'll just echo a lot of what he just said. Thanks a lot for the restream. GG, best of luck going forward. And hopefully maybe you get some better magic in the seeds going forward as well. None of this kind of level 1 with just kind of ice is your kind of best spell.
Yeah, you hit Fire 3 level 2. Quit whining. Uh, all right, so before we get Darren to take us out, I'm just going to say thank you to Darren. Thank you to Gouda632 for restreaming. Thank you to Burt Reynolds for tracking. Both of them are also in this tournament, and they're excellent runners. So make sure you give them a follow as well. Thank you, of course, to Randomania for hosting us. And that said, yeah, and of course, thank you, Gouda. Thank you to Dark Moon for all of the wonderful layouts and artwork that's made this tournament really stand out visually. So that's really nice that we have that as well. And I'm gonna let Darren take us out.
Yeah, and if everybody's enjoying all the Final Fantasy randomizer action, there's a whole lot more coming this weekend. There are 17 more races over the next 2 days, and 16 of those we're going to try and get restreams for. I know Elastoid has a race tomorrow. Burt Reynolds, our tracker, has a race. or Elastoids, yours might be Sunday, but Elastoid, you're running this weekend. Burt Reynolds is running this weekend. I know Gouda ran earlier this week because he was my opponent this week, but tons of races out there. Going to be a lot of good races, a lot of close matches. But next 4 weeks there'll be a ton of races coming at you. There's 73 participants in this, which is the largest spring tournament we've ever had. And if you're enjoying it, if you think it would be fun to play, like we said, join the Discord. There's a lot of people who are more than happy to teach you about the Final Fantasy randomizer, show you the ropes, and come on out, give it a try. You don't lose anything for trying it out at least once and see what you think. But we thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're so glad that we can help entertain you, and hope that everybody has a wonderful weekend, and come on back for some more Final Fantasy randomizer action.